What's up, YouTubers? This is me, Johnny. I'm feeling pretty good today. I just got done watching some. Matt Smith is this gentleman who's started a YouTube channel with Doug Casey. He was doing a live stream, but without Doug Casey. It was just funny watching it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but they were talking about Latin America a little bit and the pros and cons of living there. And Matt was just trying to, explain how Latin America, or parts of it anyways, not all of it, are 20 or 30 years behind the U.S. and how that's good actually for freedom and liberty because things aren't as efficient. And he was just pointing out how in the United States, there's a lot of conveniences here in the United States, but there's so much efficiency when things break down, they really break down. And he was just pointing out, apparently he's a former CEO, Matt Smith, and he's a former, he didn't say it, but I'm guessing he's a venture capital guy. But he previously he had, well, I take it his work previously took him to Argentina, and he lived in the capital there for a little while. But now he's back in Colorado. And so he had a live stream. They're talking about kind of all the things happening in the States now, how the country's equally divided. And he said something really fascinating that I think is actually true. Secession's already happened. The country's equally divided. It's just there's not a legal secession from the U.S. I actually think that's true. I think something like when the Civil War happened, we're entering some kind of period like that. I've also said in previous video, we're entering a period that's like the 1890s, or the 1870s to 1890s. It culminated in the 1890s where the biggest boom in the history of mankind up to that time, and then that led to World War I. Then all the old elites were losing power. He actually talked about that too a little bit. That was really fascinating too, but a lot of the viewers are asking questions about where to get a second passport, things of that nature, and what's it like to live in South America, and oh man, I'm getting some bad shadow there. Anyways, stuff like that. Anyhow, I just thought I'd make a little commentary on that. I feel pretty good. I just came back from the laundromat. I totally forgot to wear my mask, so I didn't have my face mask on. The lady didn't cuss me out. It was really nice. This is a new neighborhood I've lived in. It's pretty cool. They already call me by my first name. It's pretty awesome. It's very safe here where I'm at. It's just kind of interesting. It almost reminds me of living in small town America, like, I don't know, from when I was a kid in the 1980s, but I'd imagine it was like this back in the 50s and 60s. Anyways, I don't have too much commentary today. I was just checking the markets. I think Bitcoin went from 42,000 down to 30. Previous to that, I don't know if you follow, people on here follow gold, but gold was down like $100 2 or 3 days ago. Now Bitcoin was down. I had heard in the media like 20%. It's back up to 32,000. If I had to guess, I would expect it to correct down more, but so far I've been wrong. Because there's so many negative opinions on Bitcoin right now, I would expect the correction won't be that deep. But we'll see. I was hoping it went up to like 42,000. I was thinking it could go down to like 20,000, maybe lower. When it got to 30,000, I thought it would correct down to 15. So I would look for a correction down to 15 or 20,000. But that might be wishful thinking because there's so many bears out there, and these markets, stock or bull markets are basically climb a wall of worry in my experience. So we may not get this big 50% correction, but I still would expect it. Only time will tell. So far, we got a 20% correction, which I don't think is much. So anyways, I don't have much to say today. I was going to add some news. Oh yeah, I was checking the flights out of Guatemala and then out of Mexico City. A lot of the flights, the difference is like $15 or $20. Now, usually it's quite a bit more. And the other thing is, there's actually a flight out of Guatemala City to, I think, Argentina, but I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But I was checking flights to like Brazil, Argentina, I think Ecuador. I think that's it. And one of those flights was a direct flight, which kind of surprised all the rest of them. if you fly to Guatemala, usually you transfer in, well, sometimes El Salvador, but not more recently. I noticed you transfer in Panama. But sometimes I always check in Mexico City because a lot of these flights, you got to fly up to Mexico and then fly right back down to like South America. And some of these flights, you'll fly out of Guatemala, fly to the United States, and then fly back down to South America. Now, why do I mention all that? Because some of these layovers now are like 14, 15, 20 hours. I was looking for Southeast Asia a few days ago, and the layovers like 19 to like 24, 25 hours, like in a big city. So I was looking, not all, but some of these flights you're going to have 8 or 9 hour layover in Panama if you fly to Guatemala. Even if you fly out to Mexico City, there's not, well, there used to be a direct flight. I don't know if there's anymore. I didn't check really Peru. I think I forgot to check Peru, but back then there was it's a 5-hour flight that there's no transfer or nothing. You just fly right there. But oh no, now I remember. I checked Colombia, but right now, if you want to travel, it's just really difficult. It's just they're changing the rules so frequently. I don't know what to tell people anymore. Except for if you travel, expect to be stuck somewhere. Unless it's a direct flight, like if you're flying all the way to the east, like Asia, and you go and you're stopping in Canada or Europe or something. If they change the rules the next day, you might be stuck at the airport there when the layover's there. They'll probably let you fly through, but you never really know nowadays. You just don't know. But yeah, I was just looking like to fly from Guatemala to like Brazil, it's like $600, which seems to be kind of cheap. I thought it would be more. Now I'm not going to Brazil. I'm just, messing around, seeing what things cost. And the other thing is, they, because of all the tracking software when you're on these sites, they say, oh, you're in Guatemala, you can't fly there because of this, or you're flying out of Mexico City, you can't fly there because of that. It's COVID is what I'm talking about. So they always tell you, when you got to check to make sure you can even go to these countries now before you actually book your ticket, which I think most people realize now. But this traveling, this is going to get really. I think the government's going to use this to really limit people's ability to travel, especially out of a first world country. I'm going to make more videos about this and just talk about it more. Basically, what I'm going to say is point out, like, if you have say you live in South America and you have your residency card, you can travel to the adjoining countries, basically what I'm going to talk about. Just like here in Central America, if you have your DPI, your DUPI, you can travel to the adjacent countries without a passport. Now, if you're driving, usually they want to register your car and your passport and all that. I don't know if you can do that with just your DUPI because I don't have a car. So people have brought that up to me, but once you get your national ID, you can travel to the adjoining countries. Now, because of COVID, for a while, El Salvador was being a jerk and making it difficult for other surrounding countries to come in, basically Guatemalans and Hondurans and Nicaraguans. I don't know how long that'll last, but if things cracked, if first world countries crack down, like I think even just having a residency permit or your ID card will allow you to travel at least in some parts of Central and South America to the adjoining countries, which is something to consider even if you don't have a second passport. And I really, really think they're going to let up in a lot of developing world, like in some parts of Asia and Latin America and Africa, because you're starting to see the economic damage. And I suspect in the United Kingdom and the USA, in the next month or two, we're going to start getting after March. Well, yeah, it's a little bit early, but in the next 3 or 4, well, not 4 months, the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to start. Some of the data is coming in on a monthly basis, but some of the economic data comes on a quarterly basis. We're going to see how we're still really in a recession. We're going to see a big bounce because we got so low from a disinflation or deflationary point of view. So we see a bounce in activity, but what we'll probably see is millions and millions of small businesses have been wiped out and they're not coming back. And we're going to start to see the consequences of that. So we're not now, but I mean, going forward in a few months, maybe even sooner, from the Biden administration to the Boris Johnson administration to, I can't remember her name in the EU. She's in control of the EU bank. I forget what it is, but Lagarde, I can't remember her name, but you're going to probably see coordinated or uncoordinated money printing going on. So far, we're not there yet. And I don't know what that's going to mean. Like, the dollar's just not having good days recently. Yesterday had a nice bounce, but the pound has had a good bounce. But I don't know that the pound and the dollar will be good bets against gold or Bitcoin. I really don't know. I would just say with Bitcoin, you're going to expect a lot of volatility, but you're going to definitely need to learn new skills to survive no matter where you live in the world. And that being the case, you might as well live in the world where you have the most freedom and liberty to pursue your desires in the world. I have, there's a lot of pessimism out there. A lot of the friends I know are like really, really depressed. Not just depressed, but really feeling down about not being able to travel and move around. But this too will pass. We'll see how it passes. It's just going to get more of a pain in the neck to travel. You're going to have all your ducks in a row. And I think it's going to be like two worlds. The first world and the developing world, where in the developing world it'll be easy to get around these restrictions, either by hook or crook or other ways. First world countries, it probably won't be. You probably are SOL, so without that residency card or local ID or without that second passport, it could really, really impact you. But I don't want to even stress that really, because I don't think the second passport is important as you think, unless you're really wealthy. Then of course, that option is really, it's worth it. But just having a residency will solve a lot of your problems, especially when it comes to banking, and especially if you're willing to open up an LLC or SA or whatever it is for your risk level and all that jazz. Everyone has a different way of managing risk, but if you have skills and you can earn money online, or if you have skills where you can earn money locally, wherever you live in the world, because man, I'm just seeing some ugliness in the US and in the UK, and it's really, for me personally, it's sad because some people I know that they're being wiped out by all this, and it's just really sad. Anyways, I'm going to upload this video. Like, share, leave a comment. I just don't have much to say today. I wanted to make a video on Nomad Capital, or Nomad, what's his name? Is it Nomad Capital? I can't remember his name, but then there's a cool video or a cool, well, there's just stuff like that I want to show some people that kind of shows you how it really is in the developing or Latin America more specifically. But anyways, I want to show you some resources that you may not be aware of to show you how cheap it can be or how expensive it can be to travel in Latin America or Asia, and also to the different lifestyle choices you can have. Some of this stuff I just don't talk about much, but so I'll show you some other resources you can look at. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment, please. Thank you. Boom!